How did manorialism function? Have you ever wondered how life was organized in medieval Europe? Manorialism was the backbone of this society, shaping the way people lived and worked from the 5th to the 15th centuries. At its heart was the manor, a lord's estate that included agricultural land, a village, and the peasants who worked the land. This system created a self-sufficient unit that provided food, shelter, and protection for its inhabitants. The lord owned the land and held both legal and economic power. Peasants, often known as serfs, were tied to the land and had to provide labor, produce, or payments to the lord. In return, the lord offered protection and the right for peasants to cultivate certain plots of land for their own needs. This mutual arrangement formed the foundation of manorialism. The manor was divided into 3 main areas. First, there was the demesne, which was land directly controlled by the lord. This land was worked by peasants or hired laborers to support the lord's household. Next, there were dependent holdings, which were plots farmed by serfs or villeins. These individuals owed labor services or a share of their produce to the lord. These holdings were hereditary, meaning they could not be freely sold or abandoned without the lord's permission. Lastly, there was free peasant land, which was rented by peasants who paid rent but were still subject to the manor's rules. Peasants had specific obligations. They worked the lord's domain for several days each week, paid rents in goods or money, and used the lord's facilities like mills or ovens, for which they were charged fees. The lord also had judicial authority over the manor, resolving disputes and enforcing local customs. Manorialism was more than just an economic system. It was a social order that defined the roles and rights of people within the manor. Peasants had limited freedoms and needed the lord's permission to marry or leave the manor. Despite these restrictions, the manor was a community where cooperation was essential, especially for agricultural tasks that benefited from shared resources and labor. Technological advancements, such as the heavy plow and better harnessing of oxen, boosted productivity, helping sustain the manor's population. The economy was largely self-contained, producing most goods locally. This was especially important during a time when long-distance trade was limited and political instability was common. As trade and urban centers began to grow in the later Middle Ages, manorialism gradually declined. However, during its peak, it structured rural life in medieval Europe, organizing land use, labor, and social relations in a way that met the basic needs of both lords and peasants. Understanding manorialism gives us a glimpse into the everyday lives of people in a time that shaped the course of European history.